Coming up, a huge eVTOL order from NetJets. And we're live at the Heli Expo.
Plus, flying a classic, new glass for a CJ, and honoring Wally Funk and how you can join us. All that and more in a moment.
Hey everybody, we have a new face on the show this week. Welcome, Nikki Britton.
Thanks, Tom.
Alyssa Cobb welcomed a new baby girl to her family last week. In fact, when Paul and I were taping the show last week, she was actually at the hospital making all this happen. So say hello to Isabella. That's her big brother Sean, who's so happy to have a new baby sister, at least for now. We'll see how that works out later. So congratulations to Alyssa and Jason. And of course, that means Alyssa will be out for a few months and Nikki will be filling in. So Nikki, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at AOPA.
Okay, well, I'm a private pilot. I live out in the San Francisco Bay Area in California. And I'm a content creator for AOPA's digital media team.
Right, and you've been on board here at AOPA now for several months. And how'd you get started in aviation?
Well, I come from a flying family. I'm a third generation female pilot. My grandmother was a pilot, my mom's a pilot, and my dad and uncle are also pilots. I got my license in 2017 while I was working for my family's aerial photography business.
Yeah, you folks do some amazing video and photography stuff, and we're going to get a little glimpse of that later. But so you got to tell me, though, what's your favorite airplane?
Well, this might seem a little cliche, but it is an aircraft that is near and dear to my heart, and that's my Cessna 182. My grandma bought it brand new from the Cessna factory in 1969, and everyone in my family has had a chance to fly it, so it's very important to us.
Wow, that's great. What a wonderful airplane. Yeah, the 182 is one of my favorites as well. So it's great that you got that family legacy going there. So let's get going. So we start out in your neck of the wood there, Nikki. A professional engineer and an aircraft owner is taking a direct shot at the study commissioned by Santa Clara County in California. That study claims there's a link between lead aviation gas sales at Reed-Hillview and San Martin airports and elevated lead blood levels in neighborhood children.
But what the county has done is they've overstated, what the risk is to the community. We're working real hard to make sure that, the EPA has all the correct facts and has all the information that they need to make a correct assessment of what the risks are for aviation lead.
Michael McDonald studied the study, so to speak, and then fired off a 19-page analysis to the EPA demonstrating that the county study is seriously flawed. Among some of the errors, the study didn't sample downwind from the airport, possibly because other studies show a lower lead level where you would expect it to be higher. And their test equipment is old and not sensitive enough to measure the existing very low lead levels. And they didn't consider other sources of lead, such as lead paint, pesticides, and the former racetrack nearby. And independent studies show that there is not a lead issue near the county airports. In fact, the Bay Area Air Quality Management District has stopped measuring lead levels near Reed-Hillview Airport because the levels are well below EPA standards. You can see my entire interview with McDonald and read his EPA letter on our website. So Nikki, you're right in the middle of this with your airplane being based at San Martin. What are you seeing out there? What are pilots saying?
Well, pilots are frustrated. They don't love having to go get their 100 low lead somewhere else. And until there is a better unleaded option, I think they're still going to be upset. There's plenty of nearby airports they can do this at, but we've been used to it for so long. It's kind of irritating for a lot of them. Thankfully, my 182 can use the UL94 that we currently have, but a lot of people at the airport can't.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. So we'll keep following this story, and hopefully Michael McDonald's letter will get some attention at the EPA, and we can get the facts out about what's really going on out there.
Absolutely. Well, the helicopter industry is together again this week at the Helicopter Association International Heli Expo in Dallas, Texas. HAI canceled the event last year due to a rise in COVID cases. eMedia Assistant Web Editor Kayla McLeod is at Heli Expo. Kayla, what's the latest at HAI? I'm sure everyone is happy to be back together.
Hey, Nikki. Yeah, the event is absolutely incredible. I'm not super involved in the helicopter community, being a private pilot on the fixed wing side of things. So I didn't really know what to expect. But wow, it's really blown every single expectation I've had.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I've never been to one myself, but I do hope to get out to one. So, what's the latest news coming out of the Heli Expo?
Yeah, so Midtex Aviation recently purchased Enstrom helicopters. The Texas based company will continue to operate Enstrom out of its Northern Michigan headquarters. The employees that I was able to talk to at Heli Expo are super excited. They're particularly thrilled to hear that their business will stay right here as an American owned company.
Oh, that's awesome. So, I got word that the famous Chuck Aaron made an appearance at the Heli Expo. Have you had an opportunity to see him or speak with him?
Yeah, Nikki, honestly, he was the first person I went to look for. I've always wanted to meet Chuck Aaron. Who doesn't love watching his aerobatic routines and all the different air shows he's been a part of over the years. So it was really awesome getting to learn more about the Chuck Aaron Academy at Southern Utah University. It's an amazing program they've got going on there. So it was awesome being able to learn more about it.
It's one of the greatest safety challenges facing the rotorcraft industry: accidental flight into the clouds, followed by a loss of control crash. The issue has gotten a ton of attention since the Kobe Bryant accident. The goal of the Chuck Aaron Academy is to improve inadvertent IMC training.
Recovery from inadvertently going into the clouds is normally you only last a minute, minute and a half, and you crash.
Right, we're teaching the upset recovery, how to get out of double IMC conditions. And this is something that's been taught for a long time in the fixed wing world, right? Upset recovery is a staple. It's not a staple when it comes to helicopters.
Pilots who go through the program at Southern Utah University will take advanced ground training and then go up and practice scenarios in a real BO-105 helicopter, not just a simulator.
You don't get scared enough in a simulator. In this one, we can get you scared. So the idea is to teach you while you're scared by practicing it. We'll show you how to get out of it and recover from it and not do that again.
For Chuck, the program at SUU is a way to pass on his knowledge and carry on his legacy.
It couldn't be a better place to transfer everything to, and they'll carry on the torch for me.
Yeah, Chuck was a really great guy, and so was everybody at Southern Utah University. Can't wait to see what that program has in store for all of its future graduates.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, you must be having such a great time. I'm really glad that you took the time to talk to us. Thanks so much, Kayla.
Hey, imagine this. You step off your chartered jet flight, jump into a fast vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, and arrive directly at your destination in just a few minutes. That's the future that NetJets envisions. They just announced an agreement with Lilium Aircraft for the right to purchase 150 Lilium jets. The 4 to 6 seat eVTOL uses electric vectored thrust technology. They call them jets. Unlike many eVTOL designs, the Lilium has a flying prototype. The company is seeking dual certification with the EASA in Europe and the FAA.
And now to something on the opposite end of the flying spectrum. In the 1920s, Fairchild Aircraft was one of the largest aircraft manufacturers in the United States. Sherman Fairchild launched a series of high-wing monoplanes designed for aerial photography. The aircraft design grew from there into a stretched passenger airplane, the Fairchild 71. Many Fairchild 71s spent their working lives in Canada, where they were put into both military and civilian use. Some got all the way to Alaska, where they became some of the first bush planes. There are only a few left today. AOPA editor-at-large Dave Hirschman has the story about one of them.
This remnant of aviation's golden age spent decades trapped in amber. The Fairchild 71's origins are clear enough. Fairchild built the airplane in 1929. It first flew a few months before the stock market crash put a lid on the roaring 20s. Where the pioneering 7-seat airplane went and what it did during its youth is unknown. But by the 1970s, it was done flying, disassembled, and stacked in pieces at an out-of-the-way crop duster strip near Caldwell, Idaho. There, the irascible owner, Eugenio Frank, kept it under lock and key, along with the bones of dozens of other golden-era airplanes. That's when Marlon Horst, a general aviation pilot, business owner, and amateur aircraft restorer in southern Pennsylvania, stepped in. Marlin owned a company that specialized in making high-end cabinets for luxury homes. He decided to apply some of those skills to the Fairchild 71, which had folding wood wings, wooden formers in its fuselage, and ornate wood window frames, among other accessories. Marlin took 9 years to restore the Fairchild 71 alongside his son Kendall. They installed a freshly overhauled 450 horsepower Pratt & Whitney R985 engine because the original Snapcat models were unobtainable and less reliable. They installed modern radios, an intercom, and GPS and ADS-B equipment for navigation and airspace access. They used current fabric and coatings for longer life, and they chose their own colors and design scheme too. It took home top prizes, including a rare Golden Lindy at EAA AirVenture. The rescued airplane is a beautiful relic of the golden age of aviation, and their restoration gave Marlin and Kendall the opportunity to work closely together to revive an exceptional historical airplane. Dave Hirschman, AOPA Live.
You can read more about the Fairchild 71 in the April issue of AOPA Pilot Magazine. That is just such an amazing story. And as an aerial photographer, I have some serious appreciation for Sherman Fairchild's aerials if you ever get a chance to see them.
Oh, okay. Well, that is a beautiful airplane. I'll look for those photos. And I can't imagine just taking an airplane that's in that kind of condition and then turning it into a masterpiece like that. And with his woodworking background, I'm sure that really came in useful, though. But what a great airplane, man.
Absolutely. In just a moment, we'll talk about how you can join us as we honor Wally Funk.
And pimping your ride, if it's a multi-million-dollar business jet, that is.
I'm Claudius Klimt. I've got 3,200 hours in the air in general aviation aircraft. I've got a single engine land, single engine sea rating, a multi-engine land, tailwheel endorsement, instruments, and gyroplane commercial. I am currently in a partnership in the Bristol 354 Bravo. Flying is totally rejuvenating. There's nothing else I can think about when I'm flying except flying. My wife calls it an altitude adjustment. I come home happy. I mostly use SiriusXM weather. Man, does it give peace of mind. Without that knowledge, it gets to be sort of anxiety producing. That's not really a whole lot of fun.
Welcome back. In just under 2 weeks, the presentation of the most prestigious individual award in general aviation, the AOPA RA Bob Hoover Trophy, presented to an aviator who best exemplifies Bob's airmanship, leadership, and passion for aviation, and is an inspiration for current and prospective aviators. This year, the trophy will go to the indomitable Wally Funk, the first female FAA inspector, the first female NTSB investigator, astronaut, and most importantly, longtime flight instructor.
Tell me why you enjoy instructing.
I love it. It was born in me. I can't answer that question. Can't you tell I love it?
I can tell you love it, but I mean, you must feel a particular kind of joy when a student gets it.
When I can solo somebody, or when they go on a cross-country solo, or when I'm on an air race, I love it all because I want to do the best I possibly can.
The gala event is March 23rd at Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C. Wally will be there to accept the award. Another indomitable spirit, Shaundi Tucker, will be the master of ceremonies. It's going to be an amazing night, folks, and you're invited. You can find more information at aopa.org/Hoover. Well, hey, you may be shocked, I say, to hear the Icon A5 light sport aircraft is not a weapon of war. We told you last month that Icon founder Kirk Hawkins and a group of other board members and investors had filed a complaint with the feds, claiming that the Chinese owners of the company are transferring technology that could be used to make advanced military drones. Well, the Wall Street Journal reported last week that the Treasury Department and the Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S. concluded that there are no unresolved national security concerns with the Chinese ownership. A Chinese investor acquired 47% of the company a while back when Icon was running out of money and on the verge of collapse. Kirk Hawkins, at that point, lost control of the company.
If you want to fly your airplane through Canada in the future, UAvionics has an easy-to-install ADS-B solution for you. The Tailbeacon X meets the current US and Canada's upcoming ADS-B out requirements. Canada is using a space-based ADS-B system. The US system is ground-based. To meet the Canadian ADS-B mandate, aircraft will need antennas that can transmit towards the ground and up towards satellite. The Tailbeacon X has 2 antennas and replaces the rear position light, simplifying installation. And right now, UAvionics has a trade-up offer. Current owners of a UAvionics Skybeacon, Tailbeacon, or Echo UAT can receive up to $1,200 in trade-in credits toward a TSO-certified Tailbeacon X. Canada is planning to require ADS-B out for flights within Class A and B airspace next year. The requirement for Class C, D, and E airspace will come no sooner than 2026. If you're working on your instrument rating, listen up. The FAA has made one requirement a bit easier. They've relaxed the requirement for the long cross-country. Previous interpretations of FAR 61.65 had said the 3 approaches had to use different kinds of navigation systems. Now the FAA says the regulation's plain language just requires 3 different types of approaches. The FAA is spreading the word that the requirements for an instrument rating just requires performing 3 different approaches. It may be met regardless of the source of navigation.
So most of us might wish we had this problem. You have a $4 million airplane with ancient avionics. Some of the replacement parts can cost up to $25,000 if you can find them. So what are your options?
Okay, that's the CPDLC log on. Okay. I'll hit a Roger so he can send us more.
Well, that's not something you would expect in a 17-year-old citation. That's Controller Pilot Data Link Communication Departure Clearance. That automates clearance delivery at just over 60 of the busiest airports. You can read your clearance right there on the screen. And with this Garmin G5000 makeover, you can get that and a lot of other new features never imagined when the Citation XLS first rolled out of the factory in the late 1990s. The Honeywell avionics that first came with the airplane are, well, ready for the museum. So Garmin saw a market and developed a G5000 upgrade for the airplane. Not cheap, somewhere in the $500,000 neighborhood for the upgrade, but it still makes a lot of sense for a perfectly good XLS worth $3 to $4 million on today's used market. They completely strip out the old panel and wiring and replace it with 3 Garmin panels, 2 primary flight displays, and a multi-function display, new radar, and a bunch of other modern features, depending on your budget. It makes a 20th century airplane into one well-equipped to continue flying in the 21st century. You can read much more about this mega makeover in my article in the AOPA Pilot Turbine Edition April issue. Hey, thanks for being with us. We hope you have a great week, and we'd like for you to be an AOPA pilot if you're not already. Join us at the link on your screen.
We'll leave you this week with some video I shot of me and my dad, Pat, doing an aerial photography mission in an R-44. We took off from our home airport, San Martin, to do a dusk shoot of a commercial building. It was a beautiful night, and I thought you might like to see it. See you next week.
Here we go.
San Martin traffic.